Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a new show that's on Netflix and is an anime which takes place in the world of Cyberpunk 2077, a game that has become notoriously infamous for certain things, but I want to take this time to also tell you a little bit about my current experiences with the game because I have come to really appreciate this game, especially with the fixes and updates that have come along since. And I think it's genuinely closer to the vision that was originally, well, envisioned well before the release ever happened. And so naturally, playing through that story and looking at how affecting it was and connecting with that story quite a bit, I was excited to see what else would be added to that world in order to expand it and to tell some of the different stories that it has. In this one, you follow a kid named David who has been through some very recent tragedies recently, and much like everybody else in Night City, he's at a point where things are just not looking up, and people who are not of a certain social status quo in Night City, they're going to suffer. This happens in the game quite a bit as well, and essentially he's starting to make his way up the ranks, but it involves doing a lot of crazy stuff. But eventually, all things have a cost, and much like as the game showcase, there is a pro and con list to come with everything that happens in your life. One thing I really like about how Cyberpunk deals with essential themes of the future is not just in the fact that it's cool neon lights everywhere and all sorts of Blade Runner-esque visuals or something very sci-fi heavy. It's more than that. It's also how it handles the way the society has changed around. Because there's so much more to grasp in that, and so many things that have happened and the people that have been affected as a result of it, that I think the game handles really nicely, but I think the show over here handles really well too. You get a very quick grasp of just how broken and run down Night City is. It's like there are times when people would make jokes about who want to live in Gotham City because it's such a, crime infested cesspool of a place. Like, why does anyone want to go there? Night City is like that times 100. Like this place is fucking awful, but due to the power of storytelling, they're able to explore that and almost make you root for the underdogs, people who are just trying to make it out of these really desperate situations. And in a character like David, as well as the other characters he meets along the way, you get that sense. And these are very well realized characters. The two leads that we get with David and Lucy are both fantastic. There's a love story that forms between them that is incredibly affecting. And for the 10 episodes that happen, and as you get to know the two of them, it's really powerful stuff that you get out of their arcs. And both of them are performed fantastically. Like, the voice acting is really great. I saw it in Japanese. I know there's a lot of dubs available, but I thought, okay, I'll watch it in Japanese. Like, no skin off my back on that. I thought the animation was stellar. I'm so glad they went with an anime format for a Cyberpunk TV show. I think it would have been somewhat of a missed opportunity if you did anything else, because it just feels so suited for this. And you can certainly tell the visuals over here are outstanding. So many bright colors and so many great action sequences that are realized over here. It felt like a mix of so many different things at times. There were so many homages that were placed in there. So many times where shots looked like they were out of something like Ghost in the Shell or Akira or Blade Runner, as I suggested earlier. And it also ties into the game quite a bit. Like, there are times where you'll see something or you'll hear something or you'll see a character pop up and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's from Cyberpunk 2077. And even though this show takes place, I want to say a little bit before that, because it makes sense. There's like certain thing that happens later on towards the end of the season. I thought, yeah, that shouldn't be happening if it takes place like after. Although it is a standalone story, but it's still very connected to that. I don't want to say it's going to help if you played the game first, but it's somewhat like if you play that, then you might latch on to some things a little better. Just be like, oh yeah, that's like, that part in the game. Or you'll hear a musical cue and you'll be like, oh, that just sounds like the soundtrack in the game at that point in time. Or you'll see certain environments and certain locations that are exactly the same and be like, oh my god. Or there's one point where a character passes David, and I saw that and I was like, oh wait, is that character? And then I rewound it back a few seconds, it's like, oh my god, look at that. So there are some cool Easter eggs to garner as a result of it. But this goes back to what I started off in the review. The game has enhanced. And so I think there is a really great experience over here to harness from something that's a television medium right now with this and the video game. I think you might get a really great experience out of those two things. But the storytelling, once again, remains so effective. It leads to something that is very personal and very heartbreaking at times, but also weirdly beautiful, especially when you get to the love story elements of this between the two. The camaraderie that builds between him and the other Edgerunners that he gets to know along the way. And all of that comes together in a very satisfying television show that's about 10 episodes long. I'm not sure they're going to do a season 2, but that's all right. If they don't, what you get over here as this story is downright awesome. I can't wait to see what else they do with this world. I know there's an update which is coming to the game that's going to incorporate some of this. I think that will be super interesting. And the way this lore is being built around, honestly, you could work on this for God knows how long. There's literally there's no respite to how much you could do. There's no limit to it. And I'm excited to see what the future of Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be. And I'm hoping that more people give the game a chance as well, because it has definitely improved in the time since. It's just such a shame that it had that very rushed launch. But regardless of that, Edgerunners as a show in itself, you get spectacular stuff over here. And if you're a TV aficionado, that should more than enough do the trick. I'm going to give Cyberpunk Edgerunners an A. It's a glorious year for television, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you're getting just amazing stuff across the board. This is just another show to add to that roster. I think that's a pretty impressive feat in its own regard. Guys, thank you very much for watching. What did you guys think of Cyberpunk Edgerunners? Let me know in the comments down below if you have seen it. Are you planning on seeing it? Or what did you think of Cyberpunk 2077? Who's your favorite characters? Did you enjoy playing as V? What campaign did you play? What did you think of Johnny Silverhand? Let me know all your thoughts accordingly. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you guys in the movies.